because this might be the inner chronicle of what we are, and we have to articulate ourselves, otherwise we would be cows in a field.
Welcome to Cows in the Field. This is a show in which we discuss philosophical themes in popular films. My name is Justin.
I'm Laura.
And today we're talking about John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness.
This one will drive you absolutely mad.
The riots began because the stores could not meet the demand of Sutter Cane's novel, In the Mouth of Madness.
Cane disappeared 2 months ago without a trace.
Isn't the guy that writes horror books?
You can forget about Stephen King. Kane outsells them all. I need to know if he's alive or dead, and I need that book.
It's a setup. It's just that. I just have to work out how it's set up.
Kane's writing has been known to have an effect on his readers.
See this? It's a map.
This whole thing has been staged.
You just get out.
This is not reality.
It's all happening for real, Trent.
And welcoming back to the show for the fifth time, it's Carly Severn. Carly is a senior editor at KQED San Francisco, and her previous appearances on this show were Eyes Wide Shut, Closer, The Exorcist, and Manhunter. We're really excited to have you back, Carly. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. Just hearing you say the names of those movies, jeez.
I feel like
what a murderer's row.
It really sums up though. I've never met you in person, Carly, but the sense I get from our conversations, it's like those movies are like, those are Carly movies.
Unfortunately, yes. That's my headstone.
Eyes Wide Shut. Yeah, she lived a great life. Eyes Wide Shut, Closer.
She died as she lived. Repeatedly asking for the password to the country house.
Carly, first question to you on this movie. I think it has to be this question. Do you read Sutter Cane?
Oh, of course I do. Of course. What if Charlton Heston says, like, I don't have the stomach for it, right? I love that. He runs Arcane Publishing, doesn't even read his major author. I love that.
Okay, so when did you first see this movie, In the Mouth of Madness? And, what's your relationship to the film?
I must have been a teenager. This is what I refer to as one of my Trinitron classics because I grew up in a small village and there wasn't that much to do or places to go really at night. So I was lucky enough to have my own personal television. I feel like I've told this story before to you guys, but it was as wide as it was deep. Like huge TVs that had like safety PSAs about like do not let this TV fall on a cat or a small person or like a child that like it will cause them damage. And yeah, this was a Trinitron classic. I think it was probably on. I think I probably saw it like late night on the BBC or something. And I'd already seen like a couple of Carpenters, I think. And just this one, just because it's so kooky, it's so weird. It's so, I instantly connected with it. Yeah. I didn't quite understand it at the time. I knew Sam Neill from Jurassic Park. Yeah. So I was like, that's the dude from Jurassic Park. I feel like I'd also seen the fantastic movie Event Horizon around that time as well. So I was like, it's the dude from Jurassic Park and Event Horizon. So I was very kind of all aboard the Sam Neill train. And yeah, I just instantly loved it. It was such just a weirdo, sicko, instant classic in my mind. And I've revisited it, I think maybe like a couple of years ago, and I was like, please be good, please be good, please be good. I was so worried that this classic from my teens wouldn't be.
I think it is a very strange movie. I feel like it's clunky in all the right places. I mean, Laura, same question to you. Do you feel, we watched this together for the first time a few years ago, I think, right? You had not seen it before, and but you remember, I think you said you fell asleep in it.
Yes. Yeah. But again, as I've said many times on this podcast, it's not personal to any movies that I fall asleep in. I'm tired. My kiddo is a shitty sleeper.
I think it was, we watched it like early days of having a kid. So I think so. Yeah, you were sleep deprived.
Yeah, still sleep deprived. We're in it 6 years. But
yes, when you woke up, did you find yourself in an abandoned New England village by any chance?
I did. Well, and then I woke up again, and then I woke up again, and then there was a guy with crazy eyes next to me. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. That's good.
And
the
then
double
Justin
fake
had
outs.
tentacles.
Yes, double fake outs in this movie. How many double? I think I only counted 2 double. Are there 3 double fake outs?
In that one sequence?
Well, just there's multiple
double
fake outs because there's that one with where he wakes up on the couch twice.
Yeah,
and then the cop with the weird face is next to him.
Yes.
Yep.
And then on the bus, I think. Oh,
yes.
So
the bus is a double fake out, right?
Double fake out. Right. I love that lady who's just explaining about why things were worse than the Depression. I just like if you've ever been on a bus, that like
there's always
costs you $10 to get like, or there's just like a guy who's like playing the radio on his phone, but it's like mostly static and he doesn't have headphones. And like nobody wants to tell him that like it's really obnoxious. We're all just like, and what's going on with that guy?
On the DVD commentary for this movie, apparently John Carpenter cops to essentially ripping himself off because the double dream fake out is the ending of Prince of Darkness, which is the second in Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy. So he was like, yeah, I just did it again, but the one in Prince of Darkness is better. So he's admitting like none of these are very good. That's my guy. That's my guy right there. If the phrase hell yeah was a person, it's John Carpenter.
It's John Carpenter. He's having a good time.
He really is. He likes being John Carpenter. He said it. He said as much in interviews. He likes being John Carpenter.
It comes through in his movies. He's got a confidence and muscularity to his filmmaking, and he just doesn't, and a kind of quirky, I don't know, like a sort of DIY attitude, which I think a lot of people tap into. That it's not. The films are rough around the edges, and I think that's part of the charm.
Yeah. Sorry, when you said hell yeah, it just made me think of one of my favorite lines in this movie, which anything Mrs. Pickman does. But when he's like, are you responsible for this page? She goes, hell no.
Hell no.
Mrs. Pickman. Oh,
I love her.
Mrs. Pickman comes on, Frances Bay, and we're both like, wait.
She's in
every movie that we love. She's in Happy Gilmore. She's in Eraserhead. What other ones is she in, Laura? Is she in
Eraserhead? She's in Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet.
She's Kyle MacLachlan's aunt in Blue Velvet, and she's
she's
got the Garmbosa in her hands in Twin
Peaks.
She's got the creamed corn in her hands.
I love it when you see like your guy, like gender neutral guy, like your guy in the movie. Like mine's like Michael Ironside. I'm like, yes.
Ironside. The other one though in this movie for me, the big one, that I didn't know his name, but Wilhelm von Homburg.
Are you talking about Vigo the Carpathian?
Vigo the Carpathian, yeah.
He got out of the painting.
I was like, that dude looks so much. I mean, that guy has the most distinguished face,
Oh, I got seen that in a painting in Ghostbusters 2.
I just love that you immediately are like Ghostbusters 2, like totally. That. You guys are soulmates. Like
my Vigo history would attest to this one.
The best.
That guy looks a lot like Vigo, and it is. I actually think that guy's really good in this movie.
I think he is really good. Sad story though. Do you know much about? So I looked him up. He had lived an amazing life. He was
past tense.
Yeah, he's dead. But this was his last movie.
Oh man!
And it was real sad. So, but here I'll do the happy part first because it does end on a sad note.
Please do.
The happy part is he was a wrestler, professional wrestler. Then he became a professional boxer.
He looks like one.
He does, right? Totally. I mean, his nose has been flattened. Then he starred in the Werner Herzog film Strozek, which actually, sadly, we have not seen, or not stars, but he's a big character in it. And Werner apparently was like, of course, Werner Herzog saw this guy and was like, this guy.
Yeah.
And then, he got various roles in American films. But then, after this, I don't know what happened, but he was like homeless for a period of time.
Oh, man.
And I think he had a drug addiction. But then, he died in 2002, I think, or something.
I'm glad I didn't scroll down that Wikipedia page. I did the kind of confirmation like, yes, that's Vigo. And I was like, well, that's cool. Oh, man, that's sad.
Very sad. But also, you know what? I mean, he lived a cool life and he hung out with like the Hells Angels in Germany and stuff. So like, I don't know. So Vigo big, because honestly, that's his name. Frances Bay big. The other one that I think was for me kind of fun to see, Jürgen Prochnow coming in hot off of for me, Dune.
Yes.
Off Dune, right? He's Leo Atreides, and I love you.
I say looking like a snack in that loose like fisherman sweater.
Yeah.
It's like Quint Core.
Yes, Quint Core.
He's great in this because it really, like there is a reveal, that when you first see him behind those doors of the crazy Byzantine, like Russian church, and like we've had this guy built up for like the last half an hour before we see him, and it's like it better be good. And then when you finally see him, I think it pays off. I think he's great in this movie.
He's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
when Trent is like, is that Sutter Cane? And she's like, yeah, obviously.
You almost just did the thing that I made the joke to Carly when I did the.
Did she laugh or did she stare at you?
I made it in the email, so I don't know if Carly laughed, but I always think of Sutter Cane. I combine that with Sutton Foster, and then I create Sutton Foster Cane. So then I create this mashup of two things that I can't get out of my mind. But look, now I've incepted you.
Now you've done it to me.
Yeah, Laura can't. Laura's like, it's Sutton Foster Cane.
Oh boy.
So okay, Carly, Lovecraft. We're doing this because for a long, I don't know the story. Who cares? But we did Reanimator previously. That was the story behind how we got to Reanimator was like a weird and sort of strange thing. But there was the Arrow. Excuse me. I shouldn't say that. There is the Ignite Films 4K release, which
get your distributor right.
Exactly. Which Scout Tafoya is the sort of intellectual editor behind, and so we had Scout on to talk about Reanimator. Talking about Lovecraft in the context of, film adaptations, of which, of course, this is not a Lovecraft adaptation, but it's just suffused with Lovecraft.
It's the most Lovecraftian movie, maybe, of them all.
It's a tentacular spectacular.
Exactly. Do you care about Lovecraft, Carly? And like, do you have feelings about Lovecraftian films?
I have to be honest, guys. I sure don't. Yeah. I'm going to show you. I mean, the listeners won't enjoy this at all, but I'm going to show you guys the Kindle that I started in the Mountains of Madness. To prepare the short story, short story, to prepare for this. And didn't quite get through it.
But it's fair.
I think I got really scared off by the kind of lifelong perception of, I think correctly, of H.P. Lovecraft as a massive racist. So I haven't necessarily welcomed him with open arms into my brain. But I think, a person, if they love horror in popular culture, they do need a passing acquaintance with this guy and the tropes and the tentacles. It was good for me to get a little bit of a grounding, even if I did not finish it.
I don't know, if Lovecraft is much, it was we are next to Providence, we're in New England. I feel like we are in the land of we have Poe and we have Lovecraft and we have Hawthorne.
Well, King too now.
And King, and now the modern day King. I feel but there's a certain kind of New England Gothic that is
what's that about?
Look, it's sometimes New England's a bit of a bummer, especially in February. And I can see where you might get
part of it then.
Right. But I don't know how read those authors are outside of the US or even, New England.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
I have a sense of that.
I know.
Because I definitely didn't have Lovecraft on my wave. I didn't know much about him until I got to New England.
What the thing about Lovecraft is, yes, he's a racist. Has all of the, a lot of his darker impulses and his kind of a xenophobia and stuff is, weirdly suffused in his work. And it kind of helps to ignite it a little bit, to give it a little bit of danger. And his work is just, it is quite, some of the writing is not great. I mean, it's not you're going to think oh, man, this guy's a master writer. It's pulp, but it is really, really interesting what he ends up doing, I think, with the sort of building over the course of a lifetime through these various short stories, a lot of them just written for magazines and serial and stuff, built this,
his own mythology.
Yeah. And I think, the thing that unites a lot of the work and what people describe as Lovecraftian is this sort of, or cosmic horror, is this sort of encounter with the inexplicable and then the kind of ensuing feeling that like brings about in you. And this film really does kind of capture that, I think, in a lot of different ways. I mean, one is, of course, in some of the weird imagery and the tentacles and all that. But another is just in the incoherence of the plot itself, which is, it twists back on itself in this sort of meta way. And it has this sort of like feeling of just destabilization. Like you're not quite sure what to think about anything that you've seen by the end of the movie. Especially because at the end of the movie, spoilers, but obviously if you've seen the movie, if you're listening to this, it ends with Sam Neill, whose character is John Trent, watching In the Mouth of Madness, suggesting that this movie is in the fiction of the In the Mouth of Madness movie that was made, adaptation of the Sutter Cane novel In the Mouth of Madness. So there's this like self-reflective sort of meta thing going on, which is, it all just leads to this sort of, it like collapses on itself in this way. And I feel like it's like maddening in a way. And I think that's the thing Lovecraft loved, is like there would be a character who encounters something they can't understand, totally inexplicable and horrifying, and they go insane.
They unravel.
They just, they lose themselves. They lose their mind. And I think that's where this movie works really well, is it sort of just like deconstructs itself, and it drives the viewer insane, in as much as it drives John Trent insane, who's like, he's coming to terms with him being a fictional character or whatever. I don't know. Here's one question then, just to put it to you guys. So if the idea of cosmic horror is this encounter with the inexplicable, what are some of your favorite creepy, cosmic-y parts of this film?
Laura, I'm going to let you take this one first because I'm concerned I might never stop talking.
Let me see. You so kindly have like a list of things, Justin, but I mean, as I said, love Mrs. Pickman. Love everything about her. Don't know what's going on with her and her husband. Naked husband chained to her ankle.
That is great. Hush. That like never explained.
Never. Who needs it? I love it. I'm just like, I want a whole Mrs. Pickman like offshoot movie, like the way that they like been making TV shows about dairy, Maine, like just like have like a Hobbs end, and the Pickman verse. Love that. I also really love the part where Linda comes back out of the car, sort of in the Exorcist back.
Yeah, she's crawling.
Wearing like her head gone forward, like it's like turned around, and she's sort of back crawling. There and
she correct me a bit. Is she's like giggling? She's kind of giggling,
right? She's like, because she's like her transformation is she's gone to like stern, sexy librarian who's like, I read Sutter Cane, but like he's just like he's a property to me. He's like really important for marketing, to being like a swoony acolyte who's sort of like all revved up by him. Her hair's down and she's sort of sexed up and she's at this point now completely turned inside out.
Well, she's read at that point in the film. Yeah. She's read the ending of the movie /
she can't
book go / this movie.
Yep.
And she's also, I mean, I love this idea that like, you're like, why, let's criticize the film. This character makes no sense. But you're like, well, wait, she's a fictional character being written by Sutter Cane, who's like a maniac.
We are all as he has written it.
Men writing women.
Yes, that's right. She even calls out. She's like, I have to kiss you now. It's required.
Well, I have to ask you guys, this part was surely written for Sean Young, right? Like, she looks like Sean Young. She acts like Sean Young. She has a slightly unhinged nature of a Sean Young type. When I realized that, I couldn't unsee it.
Yeah. Maybe.
Do you know? I mean, so the actor Julie Carmen, what else has she been in? I feel like I don't know her as
the
an
answer
actor.
Is like a lot of stuff, but nothing that I know major from. But she's also like a dancer and choreographer.
I was going to say, didn't she have like a fascinating other lives other than acting?
So I think like, which, I don't know that she's doing that contortion work in that bit, but like she does have a sort of physicality to her.
Okay.
Apparently that was a contortionist. I looked it up.
Okay. Thank you.
Makes
she's
sense.
in The Walking Dead.
Huh. Okay. All right.
So.
All right. So, that's awesome. Yeah. I feel like
she's in plenty. We have not, nothing that like really like popped out. Like TV too. She was in like an episode of Grey's Anatomy, but I think she's been in things here and there.
Carly, same question to you. I mean, so again, the cosmic-iness, the inexplicable, what parts of the film in that regard sort of leave you curled up in a ball, terrified.
So funnily enough, my brief encounter with Lovecraft himself, there was this line in at the Mountains of Madness about the narrator is taking the plane ride over to the site of the dig, having lost contact with the folks doing the excavation, and it's like a 4.5 hour plane ride, and the narrator says that this is burned into his brain because it was the last time that he, quote, knew the peace and balance of the normal mind having its accustomed conception of external nature and nature's laws. The idea that this was, the last time that a person didn't know what they now know and that they were happy because of it. This movie ties me in knots because it reminds me a ton of time travel movies as well, where you have this, the plot that it makes sense, but then it folds in on itself, and you're like, wait, well, if he knew that, then how did he go back and do? It's like Terminator still breaks my brain, where I'm just like, how does this work? How is a baby being made out of this? For me, that is the hardest thing to understand about Terminator. I always pause the movie and zoom in when John Trent goes to the movies and looks at the poster for the movie of In the Mouth of Madness, because I always want to see what the credits say. And the credits do say written by Michael DeLuca and directed by John Carpenter. And that for me is very satisfying. And it also completely breaks my brain in a way I really enjoy. And I honestly don't try and probe it too much. I don't try and unpack it and try and solve it, because I really don't think this is a movie that kind of is too interested about being solved in that way. I don't think it could generate a listicle where it's like the 10 biggest plot holes in the Mouth of Madness. I just don't think Carpenter's concerned about that. In terms of the stuff that really gets me in this movie, I mean, Laura, that crab walk, it's pure Exorcist. I love it. It's so creepy the way her little head comes out of the car door first. And then she kind of scuttles around. The bicyclist, the kid on the bike with the little visual tell of the Joker playing card and the spokes. And then you see the boy as an old man, and after the crash, the boy is on the ground and then saying in a boy's voice, I can't get out, like that. Woo.
That is super
really
creepy.
Scary stuff. And that shot as well of the boy, the first time you see the cyclist receding behind the car, like light. Illuminated by the red lights. Oh, nightmare fuel. The police beating, I recall finding really, really disturbing as a kid as well. I think I grew up with because of where I grew up with a very firm belief in the police always being very righteous. And even to see a policeman beating someone, I think at that time in my naivety, I think that was something I hadn't actually seen in real life or on screen before. I think also having seen They Live fairly recently, John Carpenter, like James Cameron, clearly hates the cops. So it's no accident that that's a cop delivering a beating in that alleyway scene. Yeah. Have you guys seen The Witches recently, the Nick Rogue movie, a kid's movie, I say, quote unquote?
Not recently.
Based off the Roald Dahl novel?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. And Delicate Houston is in it, right?
Yes.
I think I saw it when I had read The Witches book when I was a child. And I think it was too much for me. The book and the movie. Yeah. So I have not revisited it.
So there is a painting in The Witches as well that I think a kid is like trapped in the painting and grows old in the painting. It's terrifying stuff. And
creepy.
Every time I see the painting in this movie where the characters, it's a lot more fun in this movie where the characters kind of mutate and, her eye is like up in her forehead. And then by the end of it, they're just these kind of like ant-like creatures, like screaming on the ground, having completed their transformation. I think that's so cool and so hokey and so comfortable in its own hokiness. And that's why Carpenter's the GOAT.
You also noticed something about that painting, Laura, about the hand?
Oh, yeah. Her hand is like, her fingers are super long and curling down, right? Over something. Yeah. They're like tentacles. Yeah. I'm interested in this idea that like that you were the Witches painting. Because I also had like a kids movie that really, really freaked me out. It was a Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen movie. Was it called Double Trouble? Is that what it's called? Have you guys seen this?
No.
Did I hallucinate this?
Laura's looking it up.
We didn't really get MK and A in
I'm
UK.
so sorry for you about that. It's Double Toil and Trouble.
Okay.
Anyway, I couldn't sleep for a week after Double Toil and Trouble, a Mary-Kate and Ashley movie from 1993, actually. So right from this same period. But there's an older lady who is stuck in a mirror. Ooh. And that fucked me up, specifically just that she's stuck in a mirror. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe our little child brains are very concerned about being stuck, being frozen, aging when in a confined space. I don't know, but
it's kind of it's another form of body horror, isn't it? It's something happening to your body that seems irrevocable. Irreversible. And because that's what always frightens me about body horror. It's but what if my hand stays this way? What if I can't come back from this terrible mutation that I've undergone? For that reason, there's a Luc Besson movie called Lucy, starring Scarlett Johansson as
we've seen it.
The nods, wonderful. She just becomes limitless.
Yeah.
And then just starts dissolving at one point in a plain bathroom. They're probably one of the scariest things I've seen this decade. Horrible.
We love Lucy. We should do Lucy on the podcast.
Lucy.
Yeah.
But what if you used all of your brain?
That's just the best.
Morgan Freeman's what?
Limitless Lucy, when?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Limitless.
No, yeah, Lucy. But one is so Luc Besson.
That's right.
It's oh, God. Yeah, I that was one of those ones that I didn't think I wanted to watch, and then I watched 30 minutes of it while on a treadmill at a gym, and I came home and I was like, Justin, we gotta watch Lucy.
I remember that being one of my gambles at the movies. I think my husband and I, just sometimes, once a decade, you're let's just walk into this theater as if we have no capability of Googling anything.
Yeah.
Lucy was one of those times, and the other time was A Perfect Getaway, the David Twohy movie with a very young Timothy Olyphant, and I always recommend that to people because A Perfect Getaway, a perfect movie. More it's just a fantastic B movie, and that was one of the punts I took on going to see a movie.
Does that also have Mila Jovovich?
It certainly does, Justin.
I think it does,
and it's set on the beautiful island of Kauai.
We recently rented it from the library.
Oh, did?
All right, we're going to watch
do it.
Perfect
Also,
Getaway.
It's got Stevie's on.
Yeah, we'll watch it. We rented it from the library recently.
Steve's on.
So, yeah, I was that sounds very familiar. I've seen the DVD case, but not seen it.
Yeah, it's a delight.
Justin, did you answer the question about what creeps you out in this movie?
I think all the stuff you guys mentioned creeps me out. I think the guy, the what is it? The agent who does the axe thing, and then he's got the two pupils. You read Sutter Cane. I think that's really weird. And they do that in The Substance, of course, with CGI, so you can have the pupils separating or whatever. But here, just with contact lenses, I think it
unsettling.
Looks great,
yeah, it gives them like goat eyes. You know how goats have the rectangular.
Yeah, goat eyes are real weird.
They're really the more you look at them. But anyway, that was so effective.
And he pops a squat, and then it's very clearly overdubbed line. But I love that it's dubbed because it sounds otherworldly. Where he's like, "Do you read Sutter Cane?"
Sutter Cane.
He sounds like in My Beloved RoboCop. He sounds like the bad guy. He sounds like Clarence Boddicker. He sounds like that kind of nasal, scary voice. So it's all connected.
I do feel that's a good point. I mean, I think Verhoeven and Carpenter have, clearly a lot in common, just in terms of they're both, working within genres, but then also doing these things that are let me tell you something deeper, they always have some sort of deeper point to whatever they're working with.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And a preoccupation with media.
Yes.
Visual culture as well. It's always screens.
This film continues that preoccupation with Carpenter. It's not, it is the screen in some sense in this case because it's the movie that takes it to the next level, but it's the printed page. And I do love that, I think Carpenter is... I want to give a spin on what I think is going on, which is that it's a criticism. I don't know. It's a commentary on religion and religious texts, because I think they mention it again and again. They're more people have read Sutter Cane than have. Did they say something like that?
Than the
Read the Bible. Yeah. So they mentioned that, and the idea that what is the modern version of the pandemonium that would have been caused, presumably, was caused. In a diffuse way by a holy text, like a Bible that people then would organize their entire lives and culture around. The modern version of that is the kind of modern myth making that we get today in the case of, Harry Potter or Star Wars, or not really Stephen King, but to whatever. But like who cares? It could have been Stephen King. It's just turns out to be like I don't know what's the latest sort of. There is monoculture doesn't exist anymore, so it's like actually kind
Certainly
of
doesn't.
Yeah, it's kind of a challenge
so you're trying to
come
figure out
up
like
with
what is like
a modern Sutter Cane.
A modern Sutter Cane.
Sutton
Yeah,
Foster Cane.
I don't know.
Anyway, but I like this idea of the parallels, and and of course, if that is the case, if people are seriously taking these texts to the point where they're going insane, that makes the writer of the text like a god, somebody who has the power to create a mythology which will then be believed by millions of people. And then in the context of a sort of Christianized version of this, you of course need a prophet. You need somebody to deliver the Holy Scripture, and that is John Trent. It turns out he's in many ways an ideal prophet because he's a skeptic. So it's like if you can convince the skeptic, right, then you can convince anyone. But I think what's kind of interesting, is like his character. I find I find quite intriguing because Trent is not just a skeptic about everything or he sees. He's like sort of never believes his eyes. But he's also a skeptic about everyone. He thinks everyone is duplicitous.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's running a
scam. And he says, he's this direct quote from John Trent: "The sooner we're off the planet, the better." He just is just like, let's just fuck off. We suck. Humanity sucks.
We fucked up the air, the water. We fucked up each other.
Yes.
Why don't we just finish the job by flushing our brains down the toilet?
I think he says flushing our brains down the toilet because Sam Neill, who I adore, cannot do an American accent.
He's not trying to in this, is he?
Well, he's always kind of doing like a hybrid.
He's always going to keep you guessing. And he's
okay.
That's right.
I thought that's just how this is just Sam Neill's accent, but this is not like how he normally talks.
Isn't he New Zealander?
The Kiwi is always fighting through. There's one bit that always makes me giggle because he says, "This is totally Looney Tunes." And number one, he says it in full like Antipodean accent. It's fantastic. And number two, as you folks know, an American would say Looney Tunes.
Yes.
But he says Looney Tunes, like a Brit or an Aussie or a Kiwi would. But like no one said, like, that's not actually how we say it, Sam. They just carried on. And I love that.
They just, who cares? Yeah.
He's great.
I thought he was supposed to be from Australia or New Zealand or not from America. That's why I think it's funny when he's singing American
He's New Zealand's
Beautiful.
best insurance investigator.
Yeah. That's
I don't know why he's here, but he's like, America.
Yeah, that's true, actually. And then he's like, Main Street, USA, when he sees Hobbs End. Maybe you're onto something. Maybe I need to issue a retraction. Maybe he's meant to be Kiwi in this.
I don't know.
I mean, his accent is not a full New Zealander accent.
And listen, who cares? I love that, like, Sam Neill had the world in his hand after Jurassic Park and was like, I'm going to do In the Mouth of Madness for John Carpenter. I just think that's so exciting. He is a genre king. I love Sam Neill so much. He's always so watchable. I don't think he's always good, but I think that's fine. I like the commitment. It never feels like he's above the material. He can be this like wild-eyed scene chewer, but he's never hogging the scene as well. Like he's got that like generosity as a scene partner. Sam Neill's great. We need more Sam Neill.
We do. He's got very warm, at least in Jurassic Park, kind of, like he sort of can make you feel at ease because he knows what he's doing, but at the same time, he has this kind of prickliness about him.
Yeah,
where he's
got
like
a bit
little
of an edge.
Yeah, I like that. Just one thing on the character though. So I think it's kind of interesting. This character is constantly like, "Fuck humanity, who cares?" And then it is kind of interesting that he is the ultimate harbinger of the end of humanity because he brings the Sutter Cane novel and it basically leads to the end of humanity. And then the other thing that's kind of interesting is the whole time that Trent and Linda go to Hobbs End and he's like, this is just some elaborate publicity stunt. Like you guys are just putting all this as like actors and stuff. And he's in some sense not wrong. And Linda points this out to him. But she's not right. He's wrong about what's happening, but he's right in the general scheme of things, which is that it is in a way a publicity stunt, but it's just not engineered by the publishers. It's engineered by Sutter Cane to entrap Trent and then eventually bring him, have him ultimately bring the book to the broader public. So I think it's like kind of interesting that the character is sort of, he kind of gets what he wants, weirdly enough. Like he
helps bring about the end of the world.
Yeah, and he's right about it, like kind of everything
off the planet.
in his own way. So anyway, I just like it's kind of like funny how the character is written and sort of his role in all of this.
Yeah, and that like loopingness about like before hard-boiled skeptic investigator Trent being the same as like lunatic Trent that we see in the like padded cell. Like there's that bit where he's writing a note while he's reading a novel, and then his pen breaks and he's like, oh great, and then he didn't realize he's rubbed all over his face. So he's got like that like big black smudges, and then like we later, I can't remember if we see that after or before, we've seen him draw black crosses over his face.
We see that earlier.
We see that earlier. So there's like this there's this like mirroring effect of the before and after Trents being all one Trent, all as he is written.
Mm-hmm.
That pleasure of like tracking back, and like you meet him first as a quote unquote madman, and then we're going to be like, pause, you're probably wondering how I got here. And then you meet him as the slick company man in this like sweaty office. I love that. And I do think this movie is insurance investigator core. It sent me down a bit of a rabbit hole about why the trope or the character, the stock character of insurance investigator is so used in movies. There's Memento. Guy Pearce is an insurance investigator. Russo in the Thomas Crown Affair. Very different movie, obviously, but she's an insurance investigator. Apparently it's in a bunch of noirs that, like, honestly, even the titles were not familiar to me. So it just seemed like
Double Indemnity, the main
Double
character.
Indemnity, there you go.
Yeah.
And there was like a bunch more that I was like, never heard of this one. So it just seems like it was a very like a stock, if you don't have the character of like the private dick, you have the insurance investigator who's kind of like a spin on the private detective character that you can send into a situation and kind of watch them watch the situation get its hooks into them. It's a fun character. More insurance investigators in movies.
Well, it's also part of the trope, I think, of the insurance investigator in these kinds of, in noir in particular, but then also in this film, is that they have to, they come in like a skeptic, like some, like, audience surrogate, like none of this is real. And then they end up being the patsy. In the end, they end up getting one pulled over them. They end up being sort of confused from the start. And I think there's a certain joy that I think noir films revel in, and this film definitely does, in sort of pulling the rug out from under that kind of character, like showing like this actually, like you were wrong to be so confident.
You thought you had it down, but guess what? It's this movie has 3 tropes I love. Number 1, the skeptic who is sent to investigate and things kind of go wrong for them. Number 2, the small town where something is very wrong. See also House of Wax. And number 3, the place that you can't leave. Like the third one, the place that you can't leave, it messes me up because it's dreams. It's the place that if you're having a bad night and you're not sleeping well and you're going to have a funky dream, that's what's going to happen in your dream. You will try to get to a place, you will try and leave a place, and you will find yourself kind of teleported somewhere else.
The car just loops right back.
It's so scary. It's Silent Hill. I know Silent Hill has its detractors. I really like that movie, but like for me, that's just like the exemplar of the town you cannot leave.
We just watched that.
We just watched that recently. Yeah. I was mixed on it, but I can definitely, I think part of it for me was that I had never played the game, and I think there was a certain degree of like lore in the film that was sort of interesting to, I think, to people who had played the game that was lost on me.
Yeah.
But I totally see from that perspective of just like, you're like trapped in this, I don't know, this sort of procedurally generated sort of world. But I did think it also kind of captured, not having played that game, but having played other video games.
The feel of a video game. A character comes to you and sort of like gives a monologue, and then you have like a choice point. This is the most video gamey feeling of movies I've ever seen.
There's like one man in that movie. I noticed that on my most recent rewatch. I was like, there really is. It's like, it's Sean Bean and maybe some other dude in the background, but it's a very female movie.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about like the tropes and the investigator trope and the noir hard-boiled detective or noir tropes too. I like also too, like one of the things that I found really off and weird tonally the first time I watched it was like when Sam Neill goes and first meets like Charles Ness and gets the mission and meets Linda, and Linda's doing like a lot of prop work with her glasses. You know, like she's like touching the stem of her glasses to her mouth and then like using her mouth to close the glasses and then putting in her bosom and stuff. But then she sort of walks off in a huff. And then she like gives, like, she's like, we need you. And then he puts his arm, he sort of traps her and he leans in like, let's go over some files tonight. And she's like, that's not going to happen. And then she first seemed like she was kind of coming on to him. And then he sort of came out like, felt like he was coming on to her, but not at all in a way that felt sexy. Like the vibes are off. And then she does this thing where she puts both hands up and kind of sidesteps out of his like cage, which is like, felt like, ooh, like I've seen that when you're just like, I need out of this situation.
Yeah, and it's in an office.
And it's in an office. And then later there's this kiss where she says, it's like, we have to do this. Like they have these sort of beats that if they were played differently would feel like they were standard classic noir romance beats, but they're all off and strange.
Yeah, there's something written about them.
They're written and only one person is playing it or into it at a time. And then they're switching and swapping and like none of it feels romantic and some of it feels off. And at first I was like, what is going on? Like, what are the choices that these actors are making? I don't get it. And then I think like as I like got more into the vibe of the movie, I was like, oh, I see. But at first when I'm just seeing Sam Neill put his arm against her on that elevator bank, I was like, I don't like this.
I found that shocking when I rewatched because I didn't remember that from my earlier watches. And just kind of that, it was just weirdly creepy in a way that the character is not seen to be that creepy again. He's like boorish, you know, he has like an air horn in his dashboard that he gets out.
I'm so glad you brought that up. It's like a clown horn. Why is it in there? It's there in the bag. In a bag of chips.
It doesn't make the sound you expect. It's very strange. And then, you know, he's very dismissive of her, you know, or knocking on the cabinet saying, this, you see, reality. You know, he gets the window wrong, that the church is outside. And so he just kind of turns into, you know, he's kind of boorish and annoying after that. But you don't see the real creep that is introduced. But I do like how it takes these conventions and mutates them, you know?
Yeah. Immediately, having seen that elevator bank scene, I'm like, okay, how many rooms are they getting? One room? How many beds is there? One, like, there's going to be some business about this, right? No, not at all. Nobody's sleeping in this movie because, like, this movie, it takes over, like, it's like 1 day / 100 years in one time frame or whatever. But like, there's never anything about it. But that sort of like leads you to where you think it might be going. Except for this movie's just like playing with that stuff. It's not really interested in going there.
Yeah.
It's so great. It's so weird. Like I was thinking about, you know, 1994. It doesn't feel like a movie from the year that Friends launched, does it? I was like, what else is in 1994? Friends, the television show Friends. And this movie just feels like such a throwback. And I think that you know, that it's the setting, it's the Hobbs End setting for much of it. It's the Lovecraft elements, which are old-fashioned by their nature. It was also written many years before, I believe. I think Michael DeLuca wrote it when he was like 22 or something. And it does feel like a young person's impression of this big, crazy world that they're sculpting. And I don't know, like I was looking into the kind of context as well in which this movie is coming out. Like the year before, 93, it didn't look like a banner year to me for horror. Like I saw a lot of really subpar, like Stephen King and Stephen King adjacent adaptations. But then in 1994, you get like, I hesitate to use the phrase, but what we would now describe as maybe elevated horror. So you get Interview with the Vampire, you get Wolf, you get Branagh's Frankenstein, boo. And, you know, and Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula had come out a couple of years before then. Candyman. Candyman's amazing, obviously. But it's just to have like In the Mouth of Madness then shoehorned into this like trajectory where horror looked like it was going in the early 90s, the mid 90s. I can see why audiences were like, what the fuck is this?
Also coming, I mean, This is 94, although I think the American release was actually
95,
weirdly enough. But then Scream is 96, and that's going to completely change the sort of, it's going to reinvigorate the like, teen slasher thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And sort of, so this is going to look even more like a relic in 2 years.
But you know what? Like there is one thing that's sort of in common with Scream is like this sort of like making fun of this anxiety about the media influences on teenagers and violence. So John Carpenter said, when I was a kid watching television, there were documentaries on TV saying, are foreign movies too violent? This is not really a satirical film, but it's based on the idea that Sutter Cane is being told what to write by these creatures from beyond so that people read this stuff and they become possessed, paranoid schizophrenics, run around killing people with axes. So yeah, in that sense, it's a take on the ridiculous premise that television, movies, and books can create killers. But then he sort of is just like, well, hopefully you weren't thinking about that though. Like hopefully you were just screaming instead of thinking when you were watching my movie. He has this sort of like way of kind of dismissing it at the end in that quote. But I did think a little bit of like Satanic Panic of the 80s and the 90s, and then how that's going to turn around Columbine into like, what are the kids listening to and watching? Like what is like going on in our culture that's making us all crazy? And of course, and then by 96, like it's like the alibi, the movies made me do it. Just like the joke and like Scream, right?
Yeah. No, I love what Carpenter's doing here. Because obviously like the idea that like, certain pieces of art, like books, can get into your brain and they can pollute you and corrupt you and they could be contagious in that way. But I just think horror has had such a bad rap for doing that, especially. I kind of grew up in the post-Chucky era, and even just the sight of the Chucky VHS was just like, that's that scary thing that I've been told will corrupt my mind and destroy my generation. Video nasties as well. I'm not sure that the phrase is quite so common here, but it was definitely a huge thing in the UK, this big censorship campaign against these video, quote unquote, video nasties that were seen to be too nasty for public consumption.
We watched that movie that was about that with the censors.
What did you think of that movie?
What was it called?
Censor,
Was it called Censor?
It was called Censor, yeah. About the woman who's in charge of like identifying video nasties. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we watched that.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was pretty interesting. Okay. Laura probably fell asleep during
it. Fell asleep. Again, it's not personal to the movies that I fall asleep to.
Laura, I envy you.
Yeah.
I wish I had fallen asleep during that movie.
I'm essentially narcoleptic at this point in my life. So I'm doing my best, people.
Laura's almost asleep right now. No, I thought it was really interesting. And I did not know about that history prior to watching that movie. So
it was very
educational,
very British. Yeah.
Yeah. This is why I had this like sort of religious interpretation, because I think that Carpenter here's one way you could put together the 2 points. Like Carpenter is mocking the idea that, mass media is polluting our children's minds and causing them to, like video games are causing them to commit crimes like Mortal Kombat and all that.
John Carpenter, who loves video games,
yeah, of course.
Right?
Like he's mocking this. But then pointing to religion. Like the very people who are claiming video games are destroying civilization are holding up the Bible. And Carpenter is sort of saying, well, the shoe's on the other, like look, your Bible was that in its day. It was this corruptive force that, these myths got in these people's minds and corrupted them.
People were told by the old ones what to write.
Yeah, turned them into ultimately religious zealots. And so, it's like, isn't it ironic to bastardize that phrase? But, is it ironic that you're now, claiming that in this new era where your religion is effectively the result of the same kind of infiltration into people's minds.
Yeah. And I like, it's so pointed that the kind of the locus for this terrible stuff happening for Sutter Cane's, workshop, his office is the church. Like, I think Carpenter just loathes hypocrisy as well. I mean, to bring up They Live again, that's the taste that was left in my mouth after finishing that movie, which rips. And just, I think he loathes that. I don't think there's too much hate in that guy's heart, but I do think that hypocrisy is something that he wants to kind of train his lens on in that way.
Yeah.
I'll also just note that Michael DeLuca said that the two sort of like, while the movie is Lovecraftian, like the two kind of models for Sutter Cane are Stephen King and L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
Which is the combination of like fantasy science fiction literature and turned into a religion.
A big red button just went off in the Celebrity Center in LA. This podcast will be pulled down within the month.
If you're listening, well, we already did The Master on this podcast.
Oh, that's true. We're already on the bad list.
We've been stress tested. I love the tagline for In the Mouth of Madness.
Yes.
If this book, or maybe is it for In the Mouth of Madness or another one?
But for the book, I think. Yeah.
If this book doesn't scare you to death, you're already dead. Great.
It's funny, the Carpenter's needle drop at the start. And he's like, not the Carpenters in the Kiwi voice. Yes. You know who is underused? Speaking of the asylum scene, which you don't see asylum scenes in movies very much anymore. That was such a horror movie trope where you'd have to go and find the guy in the asylum, and we don't do that now. Probably for some very good reasons, but I love all those scenes.
I mean, Renfield does get his. That's in the latest.
But when you're in a period piece, there just aren't that many like asylums that are like crazy, like wild, like decrepit.
I know. It was just my favorite part of Nosferatu. Is all I just wanted to call out again when he goes, my man, my good man, why would you do that?
we love that part of Nosferatu.
But David Warner popping up and saying about like 5 words. I'll always take David Warner, but I wanted more. I wanted more Warner. He's wonderful in everything I see him in.
Do you have a favorite Warner? Because of course Laura and I both were like, we love this guy, but for very different reasons. So I'm curious, like, where is your like Warner? Like,
okay, I want to hear yours first before I reveal all.
Well, Laura's is easy. You could probably even guess it, Carly.
Is it Titanic?
Yeah.
Yes. He's so
good. The bullets rolling.
Yes.
I do believe this ship might sink.
Listen, him and Billy Zane know the movie that they're in. Billy Zane, and Victor Garber. They know the movie, and I think they're fantastic. That movie.
What's your Warner?
Mine, but you haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
But you will be seeing it soon.
Okay.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Secret of the Ooze.
Oh,
what does he play in that?
He plays like this scientist, like sort of, and they have to like, I don't know. Anyway, but I watched that movie like a million times as a kid, so his face is burned into my head. And
we
so
both had like
intellect.
physical reactions to him, where we were just like, him. For movies we've seen hundreds of times.
But what's yours, Carly?
Okay, well,
the Warner North Star.
He is I was a big Star Trek fan as a kid, but specifically the Kirk movies. So Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, is one, bear with me, it's one whole Cold War allegory, which kind of went over my head when I was 11 years old. But he kind of plays this kind of Gorbachev-style character, this ambassador who wants to broker peace between the Klingons, again, bear with me, the Klingons and the Federation. And he is so good in that. Spoiler alert for a bajillion-year-old movie, he is assassinated pretty horribly. It's just the kindness that emanates from this guy when he's in full Klingon makeup. The crazy thing about that movie is Christopher Plummer is the bad guy. And apparently he refused to, he was like, I'll do the movie, but I'm not going to wear the stupid Klingon makeup. So they kind of give him this like half between a human and a Klingon makeup where they give him some forehead ridges. He's shaved bald and he has forehead ridges and like this sick nailed on eye patch. He looks so cool. But of course, poor David Warner is in full Klingon prosthetics. And I just always imagine David Warner emerging from the makeup trailer after 6 hours and seeing Christopher Plummer and just being like, oh,
oh my gosh.
I feel
I'm down a rabbit hole in these images. Kim Cattrall is in this as well.
And smoking. It's a wonderful movie. It's obviously not as good as Wrath of Khan. That's the best one. But I have a huge soft spot for that movie. And David Warner is just like the beating heart of it, even though he dies in like the first 20 minutes. He's assassinated. And as he's in his dying breath, he pulls William Shatner close and he says, don't let it end this way. And I still shed a tear. It's fantastic.
Wow. I've never seen any Star Trek movies.
Well, that is about to change.
Soon.
We are doing Star Trek the Motion Picture in 2 or 3 episodes from now.
I've never seen that one?
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Wait, so you've never seen Star Trek the Motion Picture, the first one, but you've seen the 5th one, The Final Frontier?
I've seen 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I've never seen Number one.
Okay.
Carly, you should change that when our episode comes out.
Yeah.
Then you can, you
check it out.
You can give us some comments and be like, well, in 3, this happens. Because honestly, I think I have seen the motion picture, but as a kid, but I've not seen the other ones. I'm pretty sure I've not. I've seen like the TNG, spin-off ones, but not.
Yeah. It's 2, 4, 6 in like 2 being the best. And and you don't really need to bother with 3 or 5. Oh, you guys, you have so much ahead of you. I'm so excited.
Well, we are. I'm excited. At least one of us is excited.
I'm excited. My friend from college is a really big Star Trek fan too. And it's just like, I don't have any affiliation to Star Wars or Star Trek. So like, I mean, I'm ready to dive in. I'm excited.
I have 2 other sort of silly things. So, KQED Cinema voted that's the French, the like fancy pants French cinephile publication that publishes a top 10 every year. This movie was in their top 10. It was number 10 of 1995.
God bless the French.
What the hell is going on? I love that. That's amazing. It's like all these French films, and then it's like In the Mouth of Madness. Great.
Honestly, I imagine the French are very simpatico towards Carpenter. He has that anarchic countercultural vibe that I'm sure they really appreciate.
That's well put. I think that makes a lot of sense. And the other thing that I think is kind of cool that I found out about this, timely for this episode, this film is getting its first novelization released in October 2025. So I was digging around and I came across Echo On Publications, and they have a press release, and they're like, the final novel of Sutter Cane is like, it's just as if it's, really being written by Sutter Cane, and
guys, do not read that book.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they're promoting it just like that, but it's coming out in October. I think maybe to correspond with the Arrow 4K, which is coming out in October. But anyway, look,
I'm afraid.
We're very excited that, we can promote this for these companies who obviously we have no affiliation with. But, guys, check out the novelization or don't.
Or don't.
Don't. Do you sound like you're in the pocket of Big Tentacle?
Big Tentacle.
I have 2 other things I wanted to mention, and that I also want to know if we made sure to go get to everything Carly wanted to talk about with this movie.
I could talk about this movie forever. When was the last time you saw a fun movie that starts with sick guitar licks? Like,
like a very off-brand, but clearly riffing off of Metallica Enter Sandman that they couldn't get the rights.
Too expensive.
It reminds me of. Listen, nobody likes vampires. The movie that John Carpenter made, I think 3 times.
You mean John Carpenter's Vampires?
John Carpenter's Vampires, yeah. Right, yeah. Apart from me. I think it's great. Again, it starts with sick guitar licks. So I've got that's a big place in my heart there. I was thinking about if they remade this movie, which hopefully they never do, because it's great. But my theory with remakes is that I've got no problem with movies that had grade A ambition, but grade B production values or budget. I've got no problem with those being remade, but this being remade would be a travesty, I think. There's 2 things that struck me about a potential remake. And yes, this is me getting angry about something that hasn't happened, which I love to do in my personal life. Thing. The first one is, I love how when he escapes Hobbs End, makes that journey back, he gets into New York, has the meeting with Charlton Heston, and immediately goes crazy and axes someone, right? And then you're back in the insane asylum, and you're like, oh, the movie's nearly over. God, this is great. A tight 95 minutes. You would have way more time spent in the remake with him grappling with the trauma that he had experienced in Hobbs End and trying to piece together the puzzle and gradually going crazy. You'd have a bunch of superfluous scenes. Also, I think they would have given in a remake, I think John Trent would get a backstory that would be completely unnecessary. I think you'd have a family loss. I can imagine him being written to have a dead child or something like that, which comes up in hallucinations. And the reason I am purposefully getting myself worked up about something that hasn't happened and probably won't happen is it just shows how tight and fun I think this movie is. It's not hijacking the horror genre to tell a story about like the darkness of humanity and trauma. It's here to have fun. He wants to entertain us. And I'm always concerned that I sound like I'm on some kind of like anti-woke crusade when I say get trauma out of horror movies. It's so hokey to be that person now, but I hate it. I just
so much of it.
Yeah.
So much of it. And again, it just does a disservice to my beloved genre of using it as the vehicle, as the Trojan horse about like, we're actually going to tell a story about loss. I just saw Weapons a couple of nights ago. I don't know if you guys have seen Weapons.
We've not seen Weapons yet.
I have many thoughts, but one thing I did really like about this movie is how it didn't do what I thought it was gonna do in terms of the quote unquote traumatic loss and showing that on screen. I really loved that commitment to just kind of going full tilt at providing a roller coaster ride, and you can read into it if you want. There's subtext there, and it's there for the digging. But yeah, go and see Weapons. It's fun.
We got to see Weapons, no, for sure.
Okay.
We both enjoyed Barbarian. I mean, but I've heard Weapons is even better, so excited. Here's my rant about horror. So I think like horror in the early, pre whatever we would call elevated horror, A24 horror. Often, of course, it was about all kinds of stuff. It wasn't just about an axe murderer, but it often was about the strange psychosexual fantasies of the director. So you would get this weird insight into like this guy's creepy, weird mind, like all these De Palma ones, like Hitchcock stuff. I feel like or even like Jaws. Take Jaws for like with Steven Spielberg. Like there's a lot of layers to this, but it doesn't have to be about, I don't know, righting wrongs or something. It could just be just like in a kind of sort of celebration of something that would be completely inappropriate, I think, to like reveal to someone at a dinner party, And I like that. I love that aspect of it. And I feel like that's what's kind of getting lost in these movies, which are trying to now make it sort of have a kind of moral lesson to the horror or whatever, is it's almost like they're like ashamed. Whereas like there's no shame in De Palma. De Palma's just like, I'm going to show you a dude looking at like a naked woman across the street. And then I'm just going to sit there for like 10 minutes going back and forth. And the guys are just going to be like, whoa, boobs.
Body double,
and it's just, good. They don't, there's no attempt to be like, I'm a little, maybe this is too much. He's just like, nah, man.
He's just like Gazinga.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you want to see this?
Yeah, you know that you do.
Yeah,
you know that you do.
It's like the paucity of imagination as well, because people are like, well, these are the big themes of human life. Loss is a part of human life. Why would I not make a movie that deals with loss? But my response to that is always like, yeah, but that's all you're making the movies about. The horror as a way of, the vehicle for the trauma movie. It's always about family loss. And what happened to, back in 92, we got Candyman. Candyman's about systemic racism and what happens when a city is gutted and when people are abandoned. And that's not, piggybacking on horror to tell its story. The horror is the story. Yeah. It's don't get me started.
I should also just say I have nothing against horror movies doing this, to having kind of allegorical elements and like talking about trauma and stuff. It's just that for me, it's just like overdone, Like I feel like, it can be done with anything. These things can be done well. They could be done kind of, in a hack way or whatever. But it just feels like right now it's sort of done to death. And we're in this situation where, it's like when 14-year-olds discover it, they're like, whoa, did you know that like horror could be deep? And you're like, oh, okay,
it's been deep. It's
whatever.
Been deep.
Carly, thank you so much for being here. Wait, Laura has one more thing to say.
Can we just go over the outfits really quick?
Okay, so we do this thing on this podcast.
Can we just talk about Lindsay's style? There's only two outfits.
All right, so here we introduced this a year ago, and I've been really bad about kind of keeping it up.
Yeah,
we didn't. We called it Fits and Frizz.
Stop going over my Fits and Frizz.
And,
Fits and Frizz.
I wasn't sure if we had already covered it because you already had this extensive discussion of Linda's.
I did talk about outfit number one. I just also need to talk about her road trip travel set.
Okay, so
quick.
Laura wants to highlight some of the fashion in the movie and
speak on it.
Can I also say though? I mean, I think John Trent, he's got the jeans and the jacket. look.
That maybe is the most
ultimate
Friends
dad look.
like for
his
me.
outfit is dad.
His outfit is dad, and I remember when Friends came on in the air, and my dad was like, "When is it okay to start wearing sports jackets with jeans?" Like my dad was like offended by this look, but it was a moment that came out in the mid-90s, I think, sports jacket and jeans.
Your dad had no mercy. He's like, I got their ass.
No mercy.
These 6 actors will amount to nothing, he said.
Okay, so first outfit is, a hot career lady. She's sexy. She reads. It's a gray pantsuit, pearls, like almost like her hair is so up. It's like, and the glasses are so on. It feels like silly. Like, those glasses are going to come off and her hair is going to come down.
She has like 3 hair clips. Like the structural integrity of the hair is astonishing.
I was thinking so much about that, Carly. How did she do it? How many clips are there? Yeah, like it's piled up in her head, but like loose and curly in a way that like I can't even get my hair in a bun without it like sticking out funny or giving me a headache. But I don't know. Incredible.
You don't have a top job in 90s publishing.
That's true. That's right. She's got the full red lip. That's the thing she's got in the first outfit and the second outfit. And as I said, she does a lot of great prop work with those glasses. And then in the second, she's on a road trip with this guy. She's, as you do. And so like she's a little more casual, but she's still classy. And she's wearing like airport sets or all matching airport sets are all the rage now. You gotta have
seen them, yeah.
Like loungewear, but more elevated. Justin's looking at me like I'm crazy.
I'm gonna put the video back on.
You gotta.
You can see my.
This is her road trip travel set. Her hair is down now, but she's still got the red lip. Yeah. And so she's wearing an all white outfit. All white outfit on a road trip.
Road trip?
That's what I'm saying. I would get stained immediately. But she's got these like flowing white slacks with a white top. And just please note, double cardigan. She's got a waist length white cardigan with like maybe some like pearl or like silver buttons. And then she's got this amazing long white cardigan that's got like sort of a diamond stitching to it. And it is like almost full length, like almost to her ankles long cardigan that she sometimes pops on and off depending on how warm it is. And then she pairs that with beige pumps and a beige handbag with gold chain details that sort of like reminds me of a 1993 era Chanel purse. Reminds me a lot of my mom's going out purse when she went to the symphony from that period of time. But she looks phenomenal and crazy road trip outfit. I don't know who's wearing pumps and all white on a road trip. But,
she's driving in those pumps.
Yeah.
Oh, she's like taking them off and driving barefoot. What's going on? No,
I don't know.
Looks great in this movie.
I know. Anyway,
did you have notes about Sutter Cane?
Laura was less.
I mean, I was really focused on Linda, to be honest, but I want to put my hands in Sutter Cane's hair.
I was going to say, so Sutter Cane wears a fisherman's sweater and double head on back of head.
That's true. Right. Double head hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that that's like showing, but we never come back to the double head. Like, what is that thing?
Love it.
Okay.
Love it. The old ones have just merged in. That's where he's getting all of his ideas.
I guess, yeah.
From the old one double head.
I really do love the idea that this is Carpenter's idea of being like, oh, you think that these authors and these filmmakers, that they're creating things that are corrupting the youth of today. Is that what you think? Do you think that like monsters from another realm are telling them what to write? It's
is this what it is?
I mean, they think it's Satan, so I think it's not that far off.
Yeah.
Speaking of, guys, we didn't talk about the Apocalypse trilogy. Are you fans of the other 2 movies in the Apocalypse trilogy?
So, okay, so what are the other? Prince of Darkness, what's the other one?
And The Thing.
Oh, I mean, yes.
So then, yes, we are fans of the Apocalypse trilogy.
So we
erase this episode.
This is our first Carpenter on the podcast.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, big fans of The Thing. Thing is awesome. Prince of Darkness, I love as, I mean, I've only seen once, but I love it because it's academics. I love that it's like all these academics like join forces to like fight the forces of evil.
They're putting together a crew.
Yeah. It's like the Oppenheimer of its age. But yeah, no, I didn't realize this is a trilogy, or in some sense, I don't know. It's a
yeah, so Carpenter has dubbed this his Apocalypse trilogy because it's the 3 movies which basically conclude with the end of the world. And in The Thing, it's aliens. In The Prince of Darkness, it's the Antichrist in the form of green goo. And in this one, it's tentacles from another world.
The old ones.
The old ones.
Yeah, cosmic forces that we cannot comprehend, breaking through the barrier and, doing nasty things to us and our bodies.
Everybody, when you start to read Sutton
Foster Cane. See,
you
have been incepted. You cannot.
The old ones are in my brain, and I keep calling him Sutton now.
Sutter.
When you read Sutter, and you just start to look ill with really sort of
when you start bleeding out of your eyes.
Yeah, and bleeding out of your eyes. I love that. I love you can just tell who's starting to read it and who's starting to go.
What is the little girl? She says, "You're my mommy."
Oh, you're my
mommy's day.
Mommy's day. Today is mommy's day.
And then there's a three-legged dog that just limps by, with the implication being the children ate the leg.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. That's good. Oh wow.
I obviously paused it. I was like, what?
I got chills when today is mommy's day. Sometimes really does feel in this house like today is mommy's day. Every day is mommy's day.
And not in a good way. Commentary, Carpenter says
my
kids
child is
love
gonna
playing
eat
monsters. They love playing monsters.
He's not wrong.
Oh, I bet.
No, totally.
Like, God, the best day of her life.
It's the first time it's like when they can have power.
Mommy's day.
Carly, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
for your
you.
5th episode on Cows in the Field. I feel like it's like you and Emily are like our top recurring guests.
Jeez, talk about rarefied company.
I know, right?
Gonna get all insecure now.
Please don't.
Carly, where can people read/follow you on social media? And do you have anything you would like to promote?
I don't tweet or post anymore, unfortunately, but I run a team at KQED, which is the NPR affiliate here in San Francisco. Yes, these are weird times for us. The publishes explainers and guides for the Bay Area and California more widely. It's everything from COVID variant guides to how to navigate your first jury duty. And you can check that out at kqed.org/explainers. I also still do cultural commentary for KQED when I can. You can hear my most recent show with Angelica Jade Bastian about Keanu by Googling KQED Forum Keanu Reeves. And if you like weird history, I did a podcast series for KQED that was rethinking the Donner Party a few years ago, which you can find by Googling Donner Party Carly Severn.
Go to KQED and check out Carly Severn.
Oh, I have something to plug. It does nothing to do with my KQED job, but when I was in my 20s, I started like a beauty YouTube channel. There is a point to this story, don't worry. Because when I was 19, I lost all my hair due to a condition called alopecia. And I started like a YouTube channel where I do tutorials for women on how to put like eyebrows back on and eyelashes and stuff like that and how to tie head wraps. So if you know anyone that's like losing their hair through chemo or other reasons, tell them about this channel. I should tell you the name of the channel. It is really unsearchable because I was in my 20s and I didn't know about SEO. It is called Eyeline Her. There's an eyeliner, eyeline her.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, so like it's there. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think to plug.
No, this is perfect. EYELINHER.
Yeah, eyeline.
HE.
Eyeline.
Her.
If I were to do it again, would that be the name I would give it? Absolutely not. Vogue did let me do a tutorial for them as well about 10 years ago now. So if you Google like Vogue Carly Severn, I should come up there.
I like that. That's fantastic.
I will say, I mean, one of the joys too of having you on camera is you always have gorgeous makeup. I always notice that.
Thank you very much.
We are at Cows Pod on Blue Sky and Twitter. We only really post on Twitter to promote this show. So really follow us on Blue Sky, although we don't really post much on Blue Sky either. You can find us on the web at cowspod.com. We have a new merch site, shop.cowspod.com, where we have hats and shirts and bags and all kinds of fun things.
Gonna buy a bag.
Buy a bag. Yes, you can buy a tote that has 2 cows. One's upside down, one's right side up. In 2 weeks, we will be doing Warfare, the recent Alex Garland film with Jim Panola. Jim is the host and creator of an Invitation podcast, a whole podcast about the Karen Kusama film, The Invitation, which we were recently on and had a great time talking to Jim about. So we'll be excited to have Jim there. Yeah. But thanks, guys. See you then. And thank you, Carly.